Meeting here with Jason today, and we're going to ask him some questions, just talk about his life. And first of all, Jason, just tell us what your name is.
Jason Varon.
Perfect. Okay, Jason. His name's Jason. Hey, Jason, how did you first come to Bethany? How old were you? Just kind of describe how that happened.
I was a high school age, so it was the summer of between my freshman and sophomore year, and started going to the youth group because one of my closest friends was going here because he was interested in a girl that was in the youth group, and they were friends, and we were friends in high school. But that's how I started, just through a friend of a friend, really.
Did you go to church as a child? I mean, had you been exposed to church before you came to church as a high school student?
I did on two different levels. I was actually raised for a period of time in the Mormon church when I was young. When I became of junior high age, it was more back to a Protestant church because I was living with my father, and that's where he took us. That was kind of the setup before I came here.
Okay. Now, when you first came to the youth group, I think Martin was the youth pastor. Can you tell me, if you remember, it might be hard to remember, but your first impressions, I mean, first coming into this church youth group, I know your friend was there to look at the girls, but I mean, when you first came, what did you notice?
The first word that would come to mind is it was dynamic. There was a lot going on. And not just in the youth group. That had a lot going on in itself, and I was observant about that. Martin, the thing that my first impression with him was his charisma and command presence. I remember those things about him. Also, he was very friendly, and I appreciate that about him. The church overall, at the time, I said dynamic earlier, there was a lot going on. Even the adults, I was observant, and I would sit where all the other high schoolers would sit in a certain front right side of the church, but they were very friendly, and there were some that I'm sure I remember kind of trying to figure me out, and then there was others that really reached out, and I appreciate that very much.
Did your parents encourage you to go to church? Did they go to church here with you, or what was the situation there?
It was just my choice. I did it on my own, and my mother knew I came here, but really wasn't an issue up until I was going to get baptized here. I had accepted Christ with you, actually, if you remember, when I was a sophomore in 1984. That's when she began to get concerned.
So to her, the Mormon church was the church. That's what she knew.
Yeah.
And for you to kind of deviate from that to this new thing was a little bit unnerving for her.
It became a problem when I was going to be baptized. Pastor's church office with my mother there, we called the bishop of the local Mormon church, and it was explained to me I'd be excommunicated, and it was a big deal, but at the same time, at that young age, I just clearly understood what it meant to have Christ, to be forgiven, to just start over, and to also have the power of the Holy Spirit and to know what it meant. And so, I simply and honestly, peacefully and joyfully just decided to get baptized. And a side note to that story, it wasn't too long after that my mother accepted Christ too, and understood what it means to have Christ and the truth.
So you actually led your mom to Christ?
Yes.
That's cool. Well, thanks, Jake. Thanks for coming and for answering the questions and being real, sharing your life. I look back because I was involved in a lot of those years, and I remember a lot of the stuff, and I have fond memories of you and the youth group back then, and it's just cool to see where God has brought you. And I just thank you for using your gifts here and just for being part of this video. We'll look forward to seeing what God's got for you and your family in the future. We know great things are coming. So thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. No, thank you. You're welcome.